Hello everyone, my name is Sade Wiley, and today I'm just going to be discussing about my visitation day, a union memorial with a fellow classmate. So for starters, it's crazy. Growing up, I've never heard of a respiratory therapist. All you hear is, becoming a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse. So, by the time, I believe I was 20 when I was working at Franklin Square Hospital, and I just saw a young lady with scrubs on pushing a vent. And I was looking around like, what is that machine, or what does she do? So later on, I did my research, asked questions, and I found out like, yeah, I love this. I think I would want to do this. So it's so crazy because the respiratory therapist that me and my fellow classmate had shadowed, she had the same exact experience that I had. She was all over the place, didn't know what she wanted to do. She saw someone coming in with the vent, just pushing it. She's like, what's that? Found out more about it, and of course she went to the program and she loves it. So I would say my favorite part of the shadow was basically learning that respiratory therapists, like in the hospital, because we was in a hospital setting, that they have different types of positions. It sounds crazy, but like I didn't really have in mind of floor therapy, and that's mainly what we were doing with the respiratory therapist that we shadowed. So I believe it was about 12 to 14 people that we have saw. One person got knocked off the schedule doing the rounds. But just during that time, all she had to do was just, check their oxygen levels, listen to their breathing with the stethoscope, and just, if they needed medication, give them the medication with the breathing treatment. And that was about it. I felt like of course I thought about it, but I didn't really think about, that's all they have to do. And I was like, wow, is this it? Talking to the respiratory therapist. And she was like, yeah, for her. So she did, we saw another respiratory therapist pushing a vent. So I asked, I'm like, okay, so when are we going to get with that? So she told me like, no, it's specific floors. So basically the ICU is basically what she would have to vent for all throughout the day. Basically for, the critical patients who's in critical care. So she just mentioned that, each floor, as far as Union Memorial, they had different floors or different steps for the respiratory therapist. So all she had to do was just a floor therapy. And that was my favorite part, learning about that. And I would say my least part was still about the floor therapy. Only because once we got done seeing like the 12 to 14 patients, that was it. All we had to do was just, talk. I mean, we went to the cafeteria. But it's like, yeah, it was good to have a lot of time on our hands, but I felt like it made the day go by slower because we didn't have anything to do. We were just watching the clock. So I feel like maybe if we were like on a critical floor or just anyone who needed, extra care, I feel like that would have made the day go by a little faster, a little more interesting. But even floor therapy, that was still pretty interesting as well. Just communicating with the patient, seeing how, better they were getting. As far as like, even if it was just something little, that made a huge change, and that was just a blessing to see. I felt like this visitation day was really important because, like how I said, I didn't even know about floor therapy. And when she was telling me about the different ones, as far as like instead of getting blood from veins, how they had to do it from the arteries, and she took us to that floor. It was just amazing. I was like, wow, I didn't know half of this stuff, So that was pretty cool. And I would just say respiratory therapy, as far as like learning with the respiratory therapist, taking this introduction class, or even just my own research for when I saw that, that young lady with the scrubs pushing a vent. I just feel like this is a beautiful field to be in. It's such a blessing because, we don't even think about breathing, honestly. Like, we take it for granted. We just do it naturally. So to see someone in that type of, condition, like they have trouble breathing or they may need, extra care as far as being on a vent or anything, just extra help. I feel like it's a blessing to help, others just breathe, get that natural feeling back. Because once you, like, even just now, you don't think about it. I'm breathing the whole time while I'm talking. I don't think about it. But to see, like, a person in critical care who can't do something as simple as that we do, like, every single second of the day, I feel like it's a blessing to help them get their breathing back, get them back on that functioning level. And yeah, so I'm excited. I really hope and pray I'll be accepted to the program and become that future respiratory therapist. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a blessed one.